Franklin Richards. This kid didn't just bend reality, he rewrote it. Before he hit puberty, Franklin Richards had already created his own universe. Not a planet, not a dimension, a whole universe. Born to Reed and Sue Richards of the Fantastic Four, Franklin came into the world as a mutant whose powers made Omega-level mutants look like they were still in the danger room. He didn't just warp reality, he understood it on a cosmic level. Franklin casually made a Celestial his pet and, in an alternate timeline, turned Galactus into his personal herald. In Heroes Reborn, Franklin recreated Earth 616 after it was destroyed, and when Onslaught was about to erase the Marvel Universe, it was Franklin, not the Avengers or X-Men, who folded space and time to save them all. He made a pocket universe with his mind. No tech, no spells, no ancient artifacts, just raw, terrifying potential. At his peak, he was seen as one of the most powerful beings in the multiverse. Even the Celestials feared what he might become. So what did Marvel do with that power? They took it away. In Fantastic Four number 26, 2020, The Truth Drops, Franklin was never really a mutant. His powers were so vast they masked themselves as an X-gene mutation. The Krakoan Gates rejected him, and just like that, the Godchild was retconned back into being just another cosmic-powered human. It was one of the most controversial moves in modern X-Men lore. A child who once stood shoulder to shoulder with gods suddenly benched, not because he wasn't interesting, but because Marvel didn't know what to do with someone that powerful. Jean Grey. She didn't become dangerous because she trained harder. She became dangerous the moment the universe noticed her. From her teenage years with the original X-Men, she was already an elite-level telepath and telekinetic. But that wasn't the part that scared people. That came later, when the Phoenix Force chose her as its host, and everything changed. As the Phoenix, she wasn't just powerful, she became cosmic. She could disintegrate matter at a molecular level, regenerate from death, and travel across galaxies in seconds. Her mind could link with every living being on Earth at once. And during the Dark Phoenix saga, she casually snuffed out an entire star, killing billions in a nearby solar system, just because she felt like it. The Shi'ar Empire labeled her a universal threat, not a mutant, not a supervillain, a walking extinction-level event. So they held a trial by combat, and Jean lost. Or rather, she chose to lose. She let herself die on the moon because she couldn't trust herself with that power. But death never really sticks to Jean. The Phoenix Force always comes back, and it always wants her. Over the years, different versions of Jean have risen, clones, rebirths, psychic echoes, but each time, the question isn't how strong she is, it's how long until it breaks bad again. Even without the Phoenix, Jean is still considered one of the most powerful telepaths alive, rivaling or surpassing Xavier himself. She's held minds together across dimensions, shut down armies, and resisted cosmic beings trying to rewrite her thoughts. There's a reason Omega Level exists, and for years, Jean was the blueprint. The Phoenix didn't make her dangerous, it just amplified what was already there. Legion. This guy doesn't need a team. He is a team. David Haller, son of Charles Xavier, was born with a mind that shattered before it even had a chance to form. The trauma of watching a terrorist attack as a child didn't just break him, it splintered his identity into thousands of alternate personalities. And each one controls a different mutant power. Not variations, not power tiers. Entirely unique, world-breaking powers. One personality can manipulate time. Another can rewrite reality. Some can create black holes, teleport cities, erase people from existence, or rewrite physics. And if David ever loses control, the entire world goes with him. The craziest part? He doesn't even know how many powers he has. There could be hundreds still locked inside, waiting to take over. In X-Men Legacy, one of his personas almost tears apart the astral plane just to prove a point. In Age of X, he reshapes reality into a warped mutant utopia without even realizing it. And then there's the time he accidentally killed his own timeline's Xavier while trying to fix the past, an event that triggered the Age of Apocalypse, one of Marvel's darkest alternate universes, all from one misstep. The problem isn't power, it's stability. David can access Omega-level telepathy, telekinesis, pyrokinesis, precognition, matter manipulation, and that's just on Tuesdays. But every time a personality takes over, it's like spinning the roulette wheel with global consequences. Professor X called him the most powerful mutant he'd ever encountered, but he also admitted no one could truly control him. Not Magneto, not Moira, not even Charles himself. Iceman. Bobby Drake used to be the class clown, one of the original 5 X-Men. Throw snowballs, crack a joke, keep it light. But somewhere between the goofball nicknames and the ice slides, something wild started happening. His powers never stopped evolving. Iceman isn't just a guy who shoots frost from his hands, he's a full-blown Omega-level mutant with molecular control over water. Not ice, water. Any moisture anywhere. Atmosphere, oceans, people's bodies, it's all under his control. He's frozen entire cities mid-battle, shut down global weather systems, regenerated his body from vapor after being shattered into pieces. In Uncanny X-Men, he once casually froze all of hell. Yes, hell. Flames, demons, and everything in between. Gone. That's how far his range can go when he stops playing it safe. Emma Frost once took over his body just to show him what he was capable of. She turned his powers up to 11, teleporting via moisture particles, forming constructs on a molecular level, and freezing opponents' blood from the inside out. Bobby had no clue he could do any of that. Later, when multiple versions of him from different timelines appeared, one of them had literally become an ice giant god, controlling weather patterns, creating sentient ice clones, and stretching his power across dimensions. And here's the scary part, he still hasn't hit his ceiling. Beast, Storm, even Magneto, they've all admitted Bobby's powers might be among the most dangerous on Earth if fully unleashed, not because he's angry, but because moisture is everywhere, and he's always in control even if he doesn't realize it. Magneto. He doesn't do subtle, he doesn't whisper, he makes the planet scream. He has been bending the Earth's magnetic field to his will since day one, pulling planes out of the sky, collapsing bridges, and turning metal into weapons with a flick of his hand. But his power goes far beyond just metal manipulation. He controls the entire electromagnetic spectrum. That means he can generate radiation, project force fields, mess with electronics, disrupt neural signals, and even detect iron in people's bloodstreams. In Ultimate X-Men, he stopped Wolverine cold by ripping the iron from his body. In X-Men Alpha, he reversed the magnetic poles of the Earth. Yes, reversed them, just to prove a point. This is the guy who once pulled a giant asteroid toward Earth, shaped it into a mutant sanctuary, and held it in orbit by sheer willpower. He's survived being torn apart at the molecular level, tanked nuclear attacks, and walked through bullets like they were cotton balls. And let's not forget House of M, where Wanda restructured reality and Magneto still found a way to rise as the de facto ruler of a mutant-controlled world. That wasn't an accident, that was respect, fear, power. Even Charles Xavier, the man who knows him best, has admitted Magneto might be the most dangerous mutant alive when focused. And when he is, entire governments blink, satellites fall, tectonic plates shift. He's not trying to rule the world, he's trying to remake it. Every move he makes echoes through global politics, mutant kind, and human history. And no matter how many times he's lost, he never stays down. Because when Magneto shows up, gravity gets optional, and the planet holds its breath. Storm. When Storm walks in, the atmosphere changes, literally. Aurora Monroe isn't just throwing lightning bolts and calling it a day. She manipulates the entire climate system down to the molecular level. We're talking hurricanes, blizzards, droughts, tornadoes, and cosmic-level pressure shifts, all directed with surgical precision. This isn't some abstract weather gimmick. Storm once froze an entire battlefield mid-fight, instantly neutralizing enemies. She can whip up winds strong enough to slice steel, generate electromagnetic pulses to shut down tech, and deplete oxygen to render opponents unconscious. She's flown into space and survived using controlled air pressure and body temperature. In space, no suit. In Black Panther number 26, she terraformed a dying planet. In X-Men Worlds Apart, she tore through the Shadow King's psychic grip while fighting a demon in the physical world. She's led the X-Men, ruled Wakanda as queen, and been worshipped as a goddess in multiple timelines, deservedly. Oh, and the best part? She doesn't need to summon clouds to make it happen. That's just dramatic flair. The control runs deep. Her body acts as a living barometer, able to feel the shifting of weather systems continents away. If she wanted to, she could collapse an ecosystem by shifting the jet stream. And when pushed, she has gone full apocalypse. In X-Men Gold number 30, she channeled so much power that she altered the weather across the planet. Not a city, the world. But what makes Storm terrifying isn't just her power, it's her restraint. She leads with compassion, not chaos. And if she ever stopped holding back, yeah, the world would need more than an umbrella. Quentyn Quire. For Quentyn, he doesn't care about your rules, your respect, or your authority. He's too busy rearranging your thoughts like they're furniture in a dorm room. This kid showed up to Xavier's school with a mohawk, a chip on his shoulder, and psychic powers that make even Jean Grey do a double take. He's an Omega-level telepath, not just reading minds, but rewriting them, erasing memories, bending reality through pure will, making people see, feel, and believe things that never existed. And here's the kicker, he figured most of it out as a teenager. In New X-Men number 134, he sparks a full-blown student riot just to to prove a philosophical point, and when he overdoses on the drug kick, his psychic output skyrockets to terrifying levels. He builds a sentient version of Cerebro, breaks into the minds of every student in the mansion, and goes toe-to-toe with Xavier on the astral plane. And doesn't blink. He's also immortal, kind of. His consciousness exists on a psychic level, so even when he dies, he just pulls a respawn in a new cloned body. That's canon. He's been blown up, vaporized, disintegrated, and comes back wearing a sarcastic t-shirt like nothing happened. In Wolverine and the X-Men, Quentyn pulls off a psychic heist inside the mind of the Phoenix Force itself. Not many mutants can say they've stared into cosmic oblivion and come back with their ego intact. He's cocky, he's brilliant, he's dangerous, and buried under all that sarcasm and rebellion is a mind powerful enough to crush cities without lifting a finger. You don't have to like Quentyn Quire, but if he ever decides he's done playing nice, there's not a helmet in the universe that can stop him. Elixir. Joshua Foley didn't want any of this. He was a teenage mutant caught in the middle of the Reavers, a mutant-hating gang, when his powers decided to show up. His skin turned gold. His touch brought someone back from the brink of death. The Reavers turned on him instantly, and just like that, Elixir was born. He's not just a healer. He's biology's worst nightmare. Elixir is an Omega-level mutant with full control over organic matter. That means blood, cells, tissue, DNA, the whole system. If you're injured, he can fix you in seconds. Broken bones, gunshot wounds, terminal disease, gone. But if you're on his bad side, he can do the reverse just as fast. This guy once shut down someone's nervous system on the spot. Brain, heart, everything. No weapon, just a thought. In X-Men, Legacy and New X-Men, he evolved past just healing. He learned to manipulate life itself, even bringing people back from death. That's right, actual resurrection. The only limit was how far he was willing to go, but there's a catch. When Elixir taps into his black skin form, the death touch mode, he flips into a cold, almost emotionless state. It's not rage, it's precision, a surgeon with a kill switch. And when he's in that zone, no mutant is safe. During Necrotia, he went full god mode. Surrounded by an army of reanimated mutants, Elixir absorbed lethal psychic energy, killed a resurrected villain just by touching them, and then walked out like nothing happened. He's not flashy, he's not famous, but if every mutant had to pick one teammate to keep them alive or end a war instantly, they'd all say the same name: Elixir. Vulcan. He started out as a secret, literally. He was born while his mother was imprisoned by the Shi'ar Empire and experimented on. By the time the X-Men learned he existed, it was already too late. He'd gone from Lost Summer's brother to Vulcan, one of the most dangerous beings in the Marvel Universe. Vulcan doesn't just control energy, he is energy. Light, heat, electricity, radiation, even magical and psionic forces, he can absorb, redirect, or annihilate them with a flick of his fingers. And the thing that makes him terrifying, he learns fast, ridiculously fast. During Deadly Genesis, he went from unstable escapee to full-on team killer, took out Banshee, manhandled Havoc, and turned on Professor X without hesitation. Then came the big swing. Vulcan rocketed into space, declared war on the Shi'ar Empire, killed their Emperor D'Ken, married Deathbird, and crowned himself king. Just like that, the X-Men's missing brother became an intergalactic tyrant. In the War of Kings, Vulcan escalated. He didn't just defend his empire, he tried to dominate the entire galaxy. He battled Black Bolt, leader of the Inhumans, in a fight that tore open space itself. The explosion nearly killed both of them. Vulcan has since returned from death more than once, and his power levels keep rising. He once drained all energy from a planet-sized star system and turned it into a personal battery. Even the Krakoan Council knows he's unstable, unpredictable, and way too strong to ignore. Proteius. Kevin McTaggart doesn't need a plan, he doesn't need weapons, he barely needs a body. Once he shows up, physics takes a backseat and reality melts around him like wax under a torch. He is the mutant son of Moira McTaggart, yeah, that Moira, and he was born different. His power? Pure reality warping. He can reshape matter, rewrite the rules of space and time, and tear the world apart with a thought. The catch? His energy form burns through physical bodies like acid. He needs hosts to survive, and each one doesn't last long. His first breakout in Uncanny X-Men was straight horror. He escaped from Muir Island, hijacked a string of bodies, and turned Scotland into a surrealist nightmare. Wolverine, the guy who's never scared, was borderline paralyzed with fear. That's the kind of psychological terror Proteius brings. He doesn't fight like other mutants. He unravels reality until his enemies don't know what's real anymore. And just when people thought they'd seen the last of him, Proteius came back, more powerful, more unstable. During the Necrotia arc, he re-emerged by possessing Destiny's corpse. Yeah, it got that dark. He's also played a twisted role in House of X, where Krakoa's resurrection protocols brought him back as part of the Five. That's right, the guy who used to warp reality like a sadistic god is now one of the mutant race's rebirth engineers. Except he's still Proteius, still unpredictable, still one bad day away from snapping and turning the island into a Salvador Dali painting. Hope Summers. She didn't just show up, she arrived from the future mid-war zone with a destiny strapped to her like body armor. She was the first mutant born after M-Day when Scarlet Witch erased 99% of mutant kind. That made her a target. To Cable, she was the future. To Bishop, she was a threat. And to the rest of the world, she was either a miracle or a ticking time bomb. But what made Hope so terrifying wasn't just the stakes around her birth, it was what she could do. Hope is an Omega-level mutant with power mimicry, not the borrow for a minute kind. She copies mutant powers perfectly and amplifies them beyond their original levels. Drop her into a battlefield and she becomes a one-woman mutant army. Elixir's healing, she can use it better. Magneto's magnetism, she's right there with him. Put her next to 5 Omegas and she becomes 6 Omegas in one. And then came the Phoenix Force. When the cosmic Firebird returned to Earth, everyone thought it would destroy her. But Hope didn't flinch. She tamed it, used it alongside Jean Grey's legacy, and reignited the X gene in mutants across the globe. Her Phoenix-enhanced actions undid the damage of M-Day. That's not metaphorical. That's literally rebooting an entire species. But even without the Phoenix, Hope is essential. On Krakoa, she's a member of the Five, the mutant team responsible for resurrection. That's right, Hope helps bring every dead mutant back to life, making her arguably the most important mutant on the planet. Without her stabilizing the process, resurrection fails. Period. Exodus. He doesn't walk into battle and he descends like judgment. Known as Bennett du Paris, he hails from 12th century France, surviving crusades, apocalypses, and intergalactic wars to stand as one of the most powerful mutants alive. Yeah, this guy predates electricity and has survived everything since. Crusades, apocalypses, intergalactic wars. He's still standing, still preaching, and still melting minds like they're wax. He is immortal, telepathic, telekinetic, regenerative, and oh yeah, he can fly and manipulate energy. He's not just Omega level, he's a walking Old Testament in mutant form. And he believes in one thing above all, mutant supremacy. That conviction isn't just ideology, it fuels him. The stronger his belief, the stronger his powers become. Which means if Exodus thinks he's unstoppable, you're gonna have a real hard time proving him wrong. At his peak, he's frozen armies mid-strike, held his own against the entire X-Men roster, and gone toe-to-toe with the likes of Rachel Summers and Magneto. He once lifted an aircraft carrier like it was a chess piece, then used it to crush his enemies. He doesn't waste energy. He commands it, weaponizes it, and wraps it around his cause. And don't think he's some outdated fanatic. On Krakoa, he's on the Quiet Council, sitting alongside Magneto, Xavier, and Mystique, helping decide the fate of mutant kind. Except while others debate, Exodus sees destiny. He's raising the next generation to believe in mutant greatness, literally preaching to children about their divine potential. It's not leadership, it's discipleship. But for all his rage and firepower, Exodus doesn't want to rule. He wants to serve the mutant messiah. Whether it's Magneto or Hope Summers, he's always looking for a mutant worthy of devotion. And when he finds them, he becomes the most terrifying follower you can imagine. So now that we've seen gods, immortals, and reality benders walk the earth, here's the real question. If you could awaken as one Omega-level mutant tomorrow, powers, legacy, chaos, and all, who would it be? And could you handle the consequences? Let us know down below as you leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more amazing videos like this one.